My name is Ruth Judge, and my husband was Jerry Judge, and he was from Iowa, and I was from Arizona, and we met in Oxnard, California. So that's quite a leap, but it worked out. And just a little, I knew him for, I met him, and I knew him for about 3 or 4 months. Took him home to meet my parents in Arizona, and we were married the next month, and married for and celebrated 56th wedding anniversary. He graduated from high school at 16, and his dad said, "Well, you got to get a job," and so he and a couple of other guys went shucking corn, okay. And they went and all the way up to Minnesota and Montana, up in there, wherever they grow corn, and came back and got someplace where they were sleeping under a billboard. As they were hiking back to Iowa, somebody, rolled them and took all their money. So the other 2 boys joined the Navy, but they were 18, so he couldn't. So he finally cajoled his father, and when he turned 17, he said, "I want out of here. I don't want to shuck corn anymore." And they didn't really have enough money for him to go to college. And so he wanted to do something that would better himself and help his country. And so he joined the Navy. That's where those other boys that were friends of his, they had chosen the Navy. Other than that, that's all he's ever said. However, they went to, what's the one it's in Great Lakes. He was put on a train after he went, after he signed up, and wound up in San Diego. And he said that it was very early in the morning when they were going down the coast, and he said the conductor came in where they were all snoozing in their seats and woke them up so they could look out the window and see the Pacific Ocean. And he said that was a very big thrill in his life, because he'd never been anywhere but Iowa and the Midwest. So it was an interesting. He had a personality that, probably Gary mentioned some of it. People gravitate to him. I still meet students that he had in high school, and I just loved your husband. He was my favorite teacher. He was in his yearbook from high school. There was a little quote underneath it of his picture that somebody had put, that he was going to attain high status. And I don't know whether he really did, but I think he did. If you talk to Jerry and Dan Moore, you talked to him, they were some of his boys, because he went into missiles. He was very, very bright in math and all of that kind of stuff. So they sent him to missile school in Point Mugu. And he really, really enjoyed it. And then he went on to do more, work in Pomona, of all places. There's a factory down there in Pomona. It's a Convair factory, and they were building the Tartar Terrier missiles, which nobody uses anymore. And that's what he was studying and learning to actually teach. And he had, in Pomona, he taught the classes because he had been at Point Magoo long enough to learn about them. He went up very, very quickly. He was second class then. I met him when he was a third class. And then, not very long after that, he made chief. And he was an E8 when he retired. He played softball, and it was cute. And I have always been interested in it. My father coached softball and all of that kind of, and he also played in the, would you believe, early 1900s on an all-star team in Arizona. So it was just one of those things that we liked that. Three girls from Arizona State University, and we interviewed for jobs, and California paid the most. So we decided to stay. $3,000 a year. At that time, what, 1953, that was a lot. And then it was in Oxnard, and by that time he had been sent to Port Hueneme and was on the USS Norton Sound. And the Norton Sound was, the sailors called it the USS Never Sailed. It went out in the morning and it came back in the afternoon. So all the guys on the ship, they had softball teams, they had bowling teams, and he did all of that kind of stuff. So we, from our teaching, we just, this was quite interesting, all these sailors in Oxnard. So we met them at a softball game, and he was playing second base, and then suddenly he was pitching, and just, things like that. Then we invited them over for, barbecue and what have you, and it was a good kind of a relationship. I am a Catholic, and he was a Catholic, and that worked out very well because we were married 56 years. Yes.